Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another round. Round 10 now. We are into the double digits of our season here for League of Legends. I am your host, BladeXA, and I'm joined here today by none other than Chris Strider.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, always glad to have you, and always glad to have these matches lined up. So, stream's starting a little bit later than usual, guys. Sure you've noticed, but yeah, again, like we've mentioned in the past, Purple Cobras dropping out of the competition did free up some of the time slots here for our streams. So that would have been the first game. It would have been Purple Cobras versus Job Seekers, but unfortunately they're not here to play Job Seekers. So Chris Schrader's got a little bit of spare time, so he's joining me on the caster desk, and
for sure.
I'm glad, because I think you've probably got some more experience with these teams, because in terms of our scrims of Jupies, I haven't got too much information on these teams in general, so I'm sure you can give me some analysis on some of these picks. And I know Corruption has played Hassidin in the past. It looked pretty scary on that pick, so what are your thoughts on the ban so far?
Hassidin, it really depends. Like, I guess if you're really afraid of the level 16 power spike, then so be it. But with his current setup and current build, if you run Ultimate Hunter, you can get to level 16 and actually get that level 16 to a level 11 if you get a couple of kills. So he does pose that kind of threat. In terms of Senna, pretty straightforward, but we haven't seen a lot of Senna as of late. Nocturne ban, I guess the fear is a bit strong, and Nautilus because it's a comfort ban. So those are my thoughts so far, Blade Exo.
Yeah, Nautilus has been a big comfort band for a lot of people in the stand. Obviously, Nautilus being one of those champions that has just got such a simple game plan, but he's so damn strong at it. It's just like, that hook is basically means all or nothing for that champion, but it's just once you get hit by it, it is certain doom for a lot of champions in the game. So a lot of people in the competition, myself included, hate playing versus that champion sometimes. But yeah,
especially when you're behind structures and the hook hits and you just go question mark.
There are some people who know how to abuse the hitbox.
Yeah.
It is crazy. People just know it's gonna hit.
But what's really underrated is his ultimate. You cannot dodge it, so I can see why it's also banned. Like his kit overall is just crazy. And talk about a crazy lane pick. We have the Kench picked first rotation.
Yeah, and that's no surprise. There's been pretty big priority on this pick in the top lane of late. It is pretty crazy. Some matchups you might think he might win out on, he actually ends up doing completely fine, if not winning those matchups. I'm talking matchups like the Jace and the Gnar, these ranged top liners that you'd think would just beat him down, but the Q is just too strong. It's very hard to dodge, and just once you get hit by it, he's gonna slowly waddle his way towards you.
And being untargetable, I guess Ornn has some sort of agency, but it will be kind of like a very tight window to actually get out of that CC. But I'm sure Kench can make things happen, being a pretty high priority top lane pick at the moment.
Yeah, the noodle fight, some teams tend to opt into that pick for the Tahm Kench. Just, if you can't beat them, join them. And yeah, it looks like they're drafting a lot of frontline already for the side of For Fun here.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a Silas coming out. It would be pretty interesting to see, but I guess we'll just see what they actually draft. A few ultimates to steal, especially Ornn and Alistair. But Team locking in Thresh. I'm sure that's for the bot lane, but Thresh, pretty high percentage pick in the next tier esports scenes. What are your thoughts on the champion, Blade?
I just think it's one of those champions that can fit every composition. There's never really a time where you see a Thresh on your team and you're quite upset, right? So I think it is just, when in doubt, pick Thresh a lot of the time. It works pretty well with the Tahm Kench. You can help him set up. You can help get that Tahm Kench, which has no ability, out, and you can help that Jinx set up for kills or get her out of situations because she's immobile. So yeah, this Thresh just pairing with so many different champions, so many different compositions, just makes sense. Just when in doubt, pick Thresh. And yeah, now that they've revealed their bot lane, looks like For Fun are opting to pick theirs here, hovering that Tristana for Greedo, which we've seen him on quite a bit. And yes, with Tristana, Alistar, that is quite a bit of kill pressure there into that lane. We'll see whether they're able to find those kills. It all really depends if that Alistar is able to find those big combos onto the Jinx or that out of position Thresh. But yeah, looking like a spicy bot lane.
Yeah, Tristana probably the best AD carry at the moment. Just has so much agency, and just her overall kit's really oppressive when she gets to 2-item power spike, just able to get those resets. But jungle bans coming out from both sides now, so I guess they're really targeting the junglers from both teams.
Yeah, and Kiratine's shown his champion pool is quite massive here, so it's going to be a tough one to try stop Kiratine from doing Kiratine things. He has been basically the star player of AD Astra. So obviously For Fun have got to keep their eye on them, but recently with the addition of Houdini to their roster, For Fun have a superstar jungler themselves, so I'm expecting to see some action in the jungle between these two teams. And of course Houdini's probably got a great champion pool himself, so I'm just imagining he's targeting the junglers like Vi that Kiratine might play, that Houdini doesn't necessarily play himself, so it still leaves that pool open for him to choose. And yeah, we might even see a jungle counter pick as the last pick here, with such priority being on the junglers, because obviously,
if you have a big champ pool like that, then the counter pick is wise.
So we might see Houdini get the counter pick in, which is pretty interesting. A lot of teams usually leave like mid lane for the last pick here, but that is a pretty good answer. That is a flex between the mid and the jungle, of course, but. We've seen Corruption play at mid lane, but we haven't seen Houdini play it yet. But it has been more popular in the professional scene in the jungle role, so I'd lean more towards that being a Diana jungle. But it's really scary here for AD Astra because you don't know that. You don't know where this Diana is going yet. And Easy Doctor usually gets his own counter picks in the mid lane. He won't know what to pick here, but looks like we might actually be
Ooh.
seeing a mid lane Vayne.
Nah, that might be top, actually. I
Oh,
wouldn't mind
so,
seeing Kench in the mid lane. He does have a bit of agency as well, but that
oh,
remains to be seen in a few moments.
yeah, I guess so. Vayne having a much better matchup into the Ornn, of course. And yeah, picking the Tahm Kench into Diana, possibly mid lane, does deny a lot of that engage potential from the Diana, because a lot of the time she's just
Oh,
going to
they're
go in.
not hovering. Yeah.
And there it is, Kiratine picking up the Fiddlesticks. We haven't seen him on this pick yet, but definitely
Mm.
a strong champion at ganking. It's just I feel like Kiratine likes to gank pre-level 6, but Fiddlesticks is very hard to pull off, especially if Houdini's going to pick something early game centered here. So I wonder how he's going to be piloting this Fiddlesticks, because yeah, he has been the player to watch on AD Astra. Now he's on this Fiddlesticks, he can make some huge Crowstorm plays, but depends whether he's able to make it to that Crowstorm. But looks like the compositions have been locked in.
There
I'm
it
very
is.
curious to see where this Vayne goes.
Yeah, I mean, Soul does have a couple of games on Kench. I've seen Kench once in the LCK in the mid lane versus Set, and that was a very interesting matchup. Of course, somehow Kench beats out Set's true damage, so it just shows how strong the Kench is in general. But no, it looks like Vayne mid, Blade.
Yeah, hovering that Vayne mid into the Syndra. I can't say that's an excellent matchup for you there as the Vayne. In fact, Syndra has been making her way into the bot lane recently in a lot of professional scenes, just
Mm.
being such a strong champion in professional play as always, and just the ability to just absolutely demolish some AD carries. And normally that's okay in the bot lane role because she doesn't get too much experience. She's not going to be unlocking those levels fast enough to one-shot you, but now she's in the mid lane versus an AD carry. You can only expect that once you hit those level 6s, Vayne can try outplay as much as she can, but there's no outplaying that Syndra R button, so unless she's got a really early wit's end here, it's going to be a very difficult matchup for this Vayne.
Yeah, and the auto attack range doesn't help her at all. I think this is a very hard matchup for Easy Doctor to actually pull off, especially against someone like Syndra who got recently buffed, and it costs less mana now to spam her. I think it's a Q, I believe.
Yeah, the
So,
Q.
and it only costs 40 mana if I recall out of her 480 mana pool, and
Yeah.
that's going to be a bit tough for Vayne to pull off. Looks like Imperial Shield Bow first item or a Wit's End. Just see how it goes.
Yeah, I think it'd be crazy, even both ADKs, Jinx not traditionally building wit's ends, if I'm remembering that correctly. I haven't seen too much Jinx in the meta, but yeah, just looking at the composition of For Fun here, we've got AP damage across the board there, spare that Tristana,
Mm.
so I think you're crazy in this sort of game not to be building that because there's so much undodgeable magic damage you're going to be dealing with. That Diana has that point and click E. And half the time you might try your best to dodge that ultimate, but if you're not flashing at the perfect time, she's going to catch you. And yeah, there's going to be so much magic damage coming through. So these AD carries have to be careful because these champions can really blow you up with their magic damage. So I'm hoping they're building the wit's ends this game. And yeah, we'll
Yeah, a
see.
lot of chain CC coming out of Team FF as well. Just I can't imagine once you get caught just with the long range Syndra on Diana, Alistair, even Tristana with her ultimate just looks pretty brutal.
Yeah, well, we've got a minute left on the spectator delay,
Hmm.
which gives us perfect amount of time to head over to our sponsors, guys. Give them the proper shout out. And yeah, just thank them for the tournament that we're able to bring to you. So thank you to the major sponsors of the tournament here and next year Esports League in general. The Territory Zone, Paul's Ice Coffee, Northern Territory Government and McDonald's Darwin, our major sponsors, giving us all the funding we need and also some extras just to have some extra things on the side for you. Right now, David's working on a studio, and we might have some other things coming up. I know we've advertised this before, but lockdown got sort of threw a wrench in the plans and stuff. So, yeah, trust me, guys, some great things to be coming soon. And yeah, it wouldn't be possible without these sponsors. But talking about our other sponsors here, our minor sponsors helping us out. Also, thank you to Next Year Entertainment, Serotonic Beauty, VR Gamers, Game & Creations, Tracy Village Social and Sports Club, Howard Spring Taverns, The Rabbit Hole, Palace of India, Fresh Point Cafe, John John's Diamond Barbers, District North Kitchen, Wicked Energy, Joyce Main, Next Level Gym, and Bell Accounting. Make sure you guys are supporting them because a lot of these guys probably weren't open during the lockdown, and yeah, it's really hurt them, the guys. So make sure you're supporting local businesses. I'm not sure of what the government's doing for them is helping them out enough. Yeah, but a lot of these guys probably felt the hit, not as much as we did. A lot of us got a 3-day holiday, but a lot of these guys probably lost a lot of money. So make sure you guys are helping out the local scene. And yeah, without further ado, I believe we are into the loading screen here. So let's head on over and inspect what we've got going on with the team compositions, what sort of keystones they're running, and yeah, what other surprises we've got in store. And now I've heard you've reacted to something, so I'm very curious as to what that is.
I am very surprised that I guess Fiddlesticks Electrocute kind of works. Like, it's I haven't seen it in quite a while. Maybe it's just to get that frontline damage early on. And Diana actually taking Conqueror, that kind of gives away what she's going to build. But Easy Doctor with Fleet Footwork, I guess, needs some fancy feet to dodge that Syndra stun. But overall, it looks pretty standard. Nothing really stands out.
Yep.
Greedo with the standard Tristana runes there. And Moo Cow, Alistair, and Ornn with their respective runes as well. Nah, pretty looks normal besides the jungle in my eyes.
Yeah, and I think if anyone was going to take Electrocute, it's probably going to be a player like Kerosene. Normally on that Fiddlesticks, something like the Dark Harvest or the Predator gives you a bit more consistent results there. Dark Harvest, of course, with a big AoE champion like Fiddlesticks. If you get in takedowns mid-fight, you're going to be proccing multiple Dark Harvests, which is going to be helping you off so much. But yeah, Electrocute's probably better in those early games than those like isolated skirmishes or those lane ganks where you're focusing on that one target. It's going to give you that quick burst of damage onto whoever you're focusing down. So Kerosene normally is finding those sort of ganks here, so I'm looking forward to see what he can do on this Fiddlesticks here, which isn't traditionally a super early game champion. So we'll see what he's able to do. But looks like a standard fan here for both sides here. No early game shenanigans.
Well, 80 Astra's win composition is pretty much a double 80 comp. Get to that latest parts of the game, don't get blown up early. So they're going to be playing pretty passive till level 6, and then going to see if they're going to find any sort of picks. Because I can imagine Corruption and Houdini win the 2v2 against Kerosene and Easy Doctor pretty early on. But Fired Soul on the Kench. Hopefully he's able to make something happen in the top lane versus the vulnerable early on. But no, it looks like farming for 80 Astra at this point, and kind of FF looking for the assertive dominance in the early game, but that remains to be seen.
Yeah, it's just I'm a bit concerned for the profile of the side of 80 Astra. They've got this champion Fiddlesticks that wants to frontline and dive in, but they've got these 80 carries that aren't necessarily the best at following that up. They've got the Vayne, maybe she can tumble in with the final arrow, try to make some outplays happen, but it's going to be very difficult for these 80 carries. Normally, if you're building a composition around 80 carries, you need that beefy frontline, the champions that can engage for them. But really, the engage is just going to be, hopefully, catch them off with a big Fiddlesticks ultimate here, or find a miracle hook, stuff like that. Because, yeah, and if things go south here, if the Diana's jumped on your 80 carries, if the Syndra's found a good angle, it's going to be very hard for them to find these team fights here. So we'll see what they're able to do. But of course, with items like Wit's End in the game, it's becoming a lot easier for 80 carries. I think they've had a lot worse metas where 80 carries are just walking 300 gold for a lot of the mid laners a lot of the time. But yeah, right now with Wit's End being so meta, I'm hoping to see they pick that up here, and they'll be a lot more durable versus this. And we're going to see our bot lane engage here. It's done maybe in a bad position. He's got traps covering his exit here, but he doesn't have to flash. Chan gets a good trade down on him, but yeah, they have to burn the heal on the side of 4Hun. Greedo dropping that summoner, keep his support safe there, but look out, Houdini has cleared his entire bot side jungle, and he's on the wings here. It's done, finds a beautiful combo, and Chan is gone there, no chance. He had to react to that, otherwise he's dead, and since he did not, you see the results here on your screen, and brilliant pathing there from Houdini to spot that opportunity after quite a bit of aggression came through on the bot lane. He altered his path and he came straight bot just to catch them off, which a lot of junglers don't do. A lot of junglers just stick to their preset path, but Houdini immediately reacted. There was a lot of aggression coming out. He realized this bot lane was playing super aggressive, and they got a positive trade, so they'd probably be playing up here, and immediately finds that gank there. Houdini showing himself why he's such a good jungler. Yeah,
and unfortunately Kerosene didn't have that opportunity to take away Houdini's jungle in the top side, but opts to go for the safe clear that is on his side. But I would like to see a bit more proactiveness coming out of Kiryu. Try to punish Diana this early in the game, but nevertheless, they didn't respect Mr. Dunn's level 2 on Alistair, and they got absolutely punished. And yeah, well done to Team FF for getting first blood.
Yeah, and if it's AD carry like Chisana gets ahead, it's gonna be so hard when she has that ability to just force all-ins and jump on you and just face tanking. And with a champion like Alistair to follow her up, it's gonna be very worrying. We'll see what Greedo's able to do on this Tristana here, because yeah, he's looking pretty good already.
Yeah, and especially if you have someone like Ornn in your team able to upgrade your items, you're just going to get accelerated even more. I like seeing these small little trades coming out of the top lane. It's just to see who's a bit more aggressive, so to speak. But Kiryu looking for anything that's coming out of the enemy jungle, just to find out there is nothing of value whatsoever. But
Yeah.
a bit of a CS lead already coming out of Corruption.
Yeah, but he might be finding himself in a bad position here. Kiryu finds the flank, does drop the flash early, doesn't want to play around. I agree with that decision there. If Vayne finds some sort of cheeky condemn, you might be losing your life there, even though it's not a very threatening gank with a Vayne and a Fiddle early on. Definitely, probably don't want to be losing that health bar there. And otherwise, you lose a lot of pressure in that mid lane, which he definitely has on that Syndra pick, already building that CS lead, as you mentioned, and converting that to a Dragon play. But here we go. 2v2 indeed. Houdini jumps in onto the Fiddlesticks. Easy Doctor also very low. Corruption's trying to assist his jungler, but Easy Doctor's spreading him out here. And now we're going to full out fight. Easy Doctor and oh my god, I can't even comment. There's just stuff going all over the place. Greedo jumping in on Chan now, but if you look back up here, Corruption is on the wrong side of the map. The Thresh is flashing over to stop him, flaying him back from the plant, blasting him into his own base. Easy Doctor says, please give me that kill, but he's actually going to get dropped by Corruption, and that's the worst case scenario there if you're Easy Doctor. He does have teleport to get back to his lane, but if you look at his lane as well, it's not exactly favorable for him as it's pushing back out to Corruption. So Corruption's going to be incredibly happy with that play that just took place. And yeah, while Chan did make it out alive from that bot lane, still a positive play for the side of For Fun, and they're already doing so well early on.
Yeah, and you can see what it means in terms of the mid lane buys. Able to pick up that kill. Corruption's able to pick up the Lost Chapter, big buy, and unfortunately, Easy Doctor forced to buy Berserker Greaves this early in the game with Fleet Footwork. Definitely going to put her core build behind even further, so hopefully he'll be able to CS that up pretty quick, but nah, it's looking a bit rough for AD Astra, especially in that mid lane.
Yeah, the mid lane is definitely going to be hard. Now that Syndra has access to Lost Chapter, she will not be running out of mana, and you'll be running out of health quite quick if you're catching those skill shots. But I do quite like the boots, especially into a matchup like Syndra, where you are having to depend on dodging out those skill shots so often. I think it is quite underrated. In fact, a lot of pros do often go back to buy boots too, just because the movement is very relevant at the high level. So even though the combat stats aren't there for this Vayne, let's be honest, the likelihood that she was going to 1v1 this Syndra anyway was very low. So
yeah,
I think the boots will definitely assist him in surviving this lane. Because yeah, she's definitely going to need the fancy feat now that this Syndra is level 6. One combo could drop her if he gets hit by absolutely everything here. Could spell disasters for the Vayne, so yeah, she wants to be keeping herself safe with those boots. But yeah, something we haven't talked about here is that the Diana is now level 6 in front of this Fiddlesticks here. Definitely has a big lead in the jungle, which we haven't been talking about. It's Houdini with his ganks and his skirmishes has been given himself a lead here, which he has a little bit to play around with. They might be even able to convert it into Dragon lead now with the bot lane pushed in. Mid lane has the priority. I can only imagine that AD Astra give this one up with all the cards being in For Fun's favor right now.
Yeah, not having a lot of vision, they definitely don't want to face check this. So I can see them letting go of the first 2 or 3 dragons, but hopefully they'll be in a better position to actually answer this later on in the game. Right now, they just got to turtle for a bit and make sure they can stop the bleeding before it starts gushing out, so to speak. Houdini being very aggressive here, getting pink wards down all across the river, essentially. So hopefully they can bring this one back a little bit.
Yeah, right now the only lane that's basically has a smidgen of lead, but hold that thought. Team comes over the wall. Corruption has no flash here. He blew it in that earlier exchange and is easily going to go down. And yes, once Fiddlesticks does hit that level 6, you better start giving respect. Every time I'm playing versus champion and I'm near a wall, I pretend it's like you're playing versus Kane or something who's blue assassin mode. The walls aren't safe anymore. Like, these champions will exploit you, even though for a lot of other champions in the game you feel pretty safe. These champions thrive off those sort of positions. So yeah, Corruption is going to take that death there, and that's going to be a little bit of pressure relieved in the mid lane, but no significant lead here as we still see For Fun in the lead. 500 gold here.
And I would say that's a little bit of a misplay from Corruption. Landed his whole combo, but Vayne still had about 20% of her HP left, so probably a bit of a miscalculation there. Maybe he was trying to force her out of lane, but a nice hook there coming out of Thresh, just trying to flex his skill shots, so to speak. But nah, bit of life coming back into Casuarina in the jungle.
And yeah, I don't think we're seeing the Wit's End over onto the Jinx, but we are seeing the Wit's End in the mid lane for sure with that Negatron cloak being built straight up. Normally, a lot of times you build that item last just because it leaves you lacking a bit of damage, but yeah, just in this matchup where you're probably going to take the L, building that early just to make sure you're surviving out on the Cinder combos definitely helps out a lot. But Fired Soul has to be careful here with Houdini on the wings. And he channels that W, but it gets cancelled beautifully by Kel'Thuzad. And unfortunately, with that gone, you don't have much left. That's the poor Tahm Kench, and he gets run down slowly but surely by that Ornn, dropping the Call of the Forge God. Well played by Kel'Thuzad to cancel that W. Otherwise, I think he was home free, but just well played by Kel'Thuzad to stop that one option he had. And yeah, looks like it's Duns looking for a little bit of a play in the bot lane. The supports feeling each other out there, but nothing crazy happening.
Yeah, trying to use that alcove play, so to speak. But Fired Soul was pretty much... Oh, here we go.
And I don't know if he has the damage. This isn't Ornn we're talking about, but Fire Soul has come through with the TP. Kel'Thuzad, of course, holding onto that flash, is going to have it to escape this gank here. And yeah, Houdini and Corruption already on the rotation, already playing so well as a team. And Fight Soul hasn't respected it at all. They called it off, but unfortunately Fight Soul did not retreat, and he's going to be paying here. The teleport is being channeled, but it is a Vayne. It's not exactly the best champion to find that, and Houdini finds a beautiful two-man Moonfall there, but there's not enough follow-up. Corruption flashes forward, and he drops the spells to try and get the kills back, but Easy Doctor isn't able to find it. In fact, might have been able to pick it up there, but he's just playing on the edge of the fight. And yeah, the health bars are too strong here for him to do much as that early game Vayne. And For Fun find another kill there, but it was looking so scary there for a moment. I almost think Corruption misstepped there. He walked forward as the Vayne tumbled forward, and I think he was in range to just get dropped there by Easy Doctor, but unfortunately he misses that opportunity. And Corruption gets out with his life, but oh, watch out, Greedo has gone in, but his support has practically left him here, so he has to burn the flash to get out of there. A bit of miscommunication, of course, when you're playing into that exhaust Thresh there was nothing he could have done. His burst combo wouldn't have not been enough through the damage reduction that exhaust brings to the table, so he just has to end up dropping the flash.
Yeah, and hopefully Fired Soul in the top lane stops perma pushing, so he's not susceptible to these ganks. But I like seeing Chan and Alfine actually freeze the bot lane here. But they really need to clear out these wards in the bot side of the river, or else they're never going to get any real agency to have any real threat on the map. But,
and yeah, they're looking for Easy Doctor mid, but he's playing pretty well, pretty safe onto this Vayne. Knows he just needs to get to that one item spike, that two item spike, and he can start having real impact on this pick here. But right now it's looking pretty rough for him, just weathering the storm of Corruption, already sitting on his mythic there. Going to be dealing so much damage on that Syndra, so he has to be very careful of that. And yeah,
it's not really good when you finish a mythic and all you have is boots and some MR, but hopefully Easy Doctor can finish that with 10 as soon as possible.
Yeah, I wonder how much gold Greedo's sitting on. I thought as much. He's currently sitting on 2,300. That might be enough for his mythic on his next back. So Greedo's sitting in a pretty position here, getting that early kill. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see whether they're able to convert this into anything. Looks like AD Astra coming in onto this dragon, which I thought would have been a free pickup. They're committing the teleport. The Ornn's coming in. Fired Soul is well in there. They're dropping all the spells. It's a mosh pit into this dragon pit. And yes, Casuarina gets it, but do they lose the fight? For sure here. We see Corruption 1v2ing on the top side, just absolutely demolishing those champions. And yeah, they did get the dragon, but it's at the cost of 3 of their own there, and I don't know if that's worth it.
Yeah, mostly if you try to kill, it's kind of worth it. 2 kills, depending on the dragon, but they pretty much lose Rift here. They pretty much lose all pressure on the map, so hopefully they're able to...
Oh, yeah, and it's done, finds a big play, but unfortunately he doesn't head back to his team. Corruption tried to find the stun, but didn't find it there. So he ends up just going down. Unfortunately there, they do throw one back to the side of AD Astra, but that's...
I don't want to flame Corruption, but he just pretty much killed his support. But by stunning away Easy Doctor, so they couldn't get any sort of extra damage on him. But I guess just it comes down to miscommunication, I suppose.
Yeah, I think Corruption had already committed his Q to the wave there, so he might not have had it to follow up, or maybe just even botched a Syndra combo, because I'm still, to this day, having so much experience on that champion, botched my combos. Just landing the EQ looks so simple when you watch someone like Showmaker on the champion, but you try play it. I don't know if it's the 60 ping or something, but it's so hard to land consistent EQs as well as they land it, and it's such a strong thing to have access to, because you don't have to land the Q at all. You just have to land that E, and it's basically stuns lock them into the Q. So good Syndra players are able to do it. I think Corruption might have given it a shot there, but it's difficult. So, but Houdini's just taken things away from Casuarina, and there's not much he can do about it. Houdini being so powerful here, and of course his mid laner being super powerful as well. We saw what Corruption was doing in that team fight. He was 1v2ing the AD carries, and that's what I was concerned about. Even if you had put Houdini in the way there, Houdini's probably able to zone out 2 AD carries on their own. If you're not able to have this team composition built around the double AD carry, but give them the space that they need in the team fight, then certain champions like Diana and Syndra can just completely shut them out of a fight there, and we saw it cost them heavily in that bot side fight. Casuarina, of course, not able to 1v4 into the game, and even though Alpine and Fight Soul were there, they're just little CC bots. They don't bring too much damage to the table, which is what they're really lacking. But
yeah, they really need to build their items to actually stand a chance later on in this game. But getting that Mountain Dragon has helped them buy a little more time so they can actually get to that stage, 2-3 item power spikes. But like you said, Corruption and Houdini on these AP power picks, they're just accelerated to the point where they can one-shot your backline once they get a bit more gold. So hopefully they can hang in there.
Yeah, the Wits End and Easy Doctor still hasn't been completed. It's quite the expensive item still, but it's such a power spike when you do finally complete it. But yeah, the components of the Wits End do not feel as good as most of the other items. Not as good as the Noon Quiver you sit on that at least help you push those waves. But once he does hit that, I'm expecting to see some things out of Easy Doctor, but it might be too little too late, as the gold lead has already grown to 4,000 here. And with lanes like that, Tristana already having that Kraken Slayer, already having such a lead for themselves, it might be too late as Houdini postures for the dive here. Corruption already on the rotation, and Chan's just completely left by his support. The Lantern comes through, but unfortunately Houdini has the exit path covered there, and they're going to pick up those kills. And Fightsoul comes in with the teleport, but I don't know what he's going to do to try salvage this situation. Looks like it might be Catfish on the menu tonight as the 4 champions help themselves. It's done. Tank hit it up, no problem. And Casuarina's trying to make a play on the other side of the map, but again, this is the Ornn here. This champion is tanky. He's got the Merc Treads, he's got the Frozen Fist already. So just being able to... you're not going to be able to take that champion down alone as that Fiddlesticks. So yeah, no play found on the other side.
Yeah, I would have liked to seen Easy Doctor actually rotate to the top lane there. They didn't really have any vision, and that could have been potentially a kill. But opts to farm in the mid lane just a little bit longer. Didn't get anything for it, but they're going to lose top lane tower as well. So looking very rough, AD Astra. Going down to nearly 8k gold or 7k gold at this point in the game.
Yep, it's definitely a big hill to climb, and that that hill has been created by Houdini. We see here it's 9 KP. He set that bot lane up for success early on into the game, and we've just seen how well they've done. And surprisingly enough, Kiratine hasn't been able to find much. Like I said about this pick for Kiratine, Kiratine is a very high tempo jungler, and you can't keep that high tempo if you're so cooldown reliant on this this Crow Storm from Fiddlesticks. It's completely stopped a lot of his playmaking potential here. So Kiratine normally would be able to match someone like Houdini on these ganks. He'd be running top lane trying to get this time catch fed. He'd be trying to punish, but yeah, there's not much to be had. A beautiful flash from Champion might save him here, and looks like it does, but I don't think it's that much of a prize to just escape with your life here. They're going to be picking up this dragon, no problems. And yeah, it's just looks like AD Astra have to find just a miracle Crow Storm or a miracle hook on a Syndra or something like that to just try and get themselves back into this game. But like we say, it is a miracle, and those don't come every day. They are just currently A-ramming into the mid lane, and why not when you have champions as strong as that Syndra? It's going to be making these AD carries very scared to walk up. But at least they have to be scared of this Fiddlesticks. We see them dropping smart wards like this over the wall. Those are the wards you always want to be placing versus the Fiddlesticks if you're pushing for stuff like the towers. Because as soon as you leave that gap of vision, he's going to take full advantage and yeah, be on top of your team in no time. But
yeah, this orange was so tanky. Unbelievable.
We see the shot calling from For Fun. They know exactly what they're doing here, but they're gonna drop the Herald into the mid lane, but it's not even gonna be able to take the turret here. The rotates are coming through. They're able to stop the Herald taking their tower. So yeah, still no towers on the board for the side of AD Astra. Even though they've had so much map activity, the mid lane's been roaming to all these different lanes, so you might think even the mid lane might have gone down by now, but fortunately not the case here. For Fun have just been playing so well. That was a bit of a sus flash, but it doesn't matter when you're this Syndra, as we can see there. If this Jinx had gone for the Wit's End first item, that would have been nowhere near enough. But yeah, that is the risk of going the route of Kraken Slayer. You have a tiny bit more damage, but it's not enough. And yeah, Kiratine tries to make the play, but he had to drop the flash there, and I'm surprised he didn't. It was just tickling him with the edge of the Crow Storm, but if he just flashed over that combo, that's a certain kill on that flash, the Syndra, which we just saw. It looks like For Fun aren't going to be messing around at all. They're just going straight for the Baron here. The vision control has been immaculate from them. And yeah, they're just going to be taking this objective really early on. The Thresh might scout this out, but look at the positions on the map here. Even if they find out this Baron is being done, it's too little too late. They have the information. And yeah, this Baron is going to go down at 21 minutes to the side of For Fun, and it's just basically insurmountable lead here now for the side of AD Astra.
Yeah, they just need that miracle team fight where they land a perfect Crow Storm with a Fired Soul coming out from the depths and Alpine landing a hook on a high priority target. It's looking very, very rough for AD Astra to have any sort of agency to come back in this game. They cannot take towers, they cannot take anything from the map, and the gold is ballooning to 10k gold very soon with this Baron buff. So seeing FF closing it out, maybe not in this Baron rotation, but maybe the next one. It just depends how aggressive they want to be with this Diana pick. But they do have a chance on Ornn here if they really want to take an extended fight.
Yeah, it looks like they are committing the Fiddlesticks ult, but like we mentioned, this Ornn is super tanky, but Tom Kench is trying to lock him down as best he can, but still holding onto that flash all this time. Just easily able to flash the wall and get out of that, and now look at the response on the other side of the map there. The hook goes wide onto that Diana, onto the Alistar, and Alistar does not care in the siders there. He's just going to tank that one up, and yeah, they're just going to continue to take towers around the map here. Yeah. And just basically the weaknesses we talked about in the draft, there's just not enough agency for the side of AD Astra, and this team usually is pretty active, especially with players like Kiratine. And as in the past, I've seen AD Astra have some really brilliant drafts, and I just think this one is a bit of a slip up here. They're trying different things out towards the end of the season, of course. I think they're finding themselves towards the bottom of the ladder, so no real harm in trying, you know. You got to throw something to the wall, see if it sticks, but yeah, this was unfortunately one of those missteps here. They're going to be looking for a play onto Fired Soul here. It's done trying to set him out, but unfortunately the team's rotated. We'll see if they're able to find the kills, but look how tanky this Alistar is. It's tanking 50 shots, but Easy Doctor has found his way onto the backline here. He's got that wit's end, but unfortunately he's just getting CC locked by the support and the top laner. Corruption being kept safe there in the middle of that Cruise Storm. Surviving so long, finally Corruption goes down, and Greedo is here to save the day, it seems. Is dropping all that DPS onto the remaining members of AD Astra, and Chan Chan is here too little, too late. Is not going to be able to do anything with those champions in front of him, and is probably going to have to give away that tower they fought so hard to defend.
Yeah, and any trade is a good trade for AD Astra at this point. That was actually a favorable fight where they were forcing Houdini to burn Zhonya's early, burn ult early, try to get out. But Corruption survived for so long. I would say if Chan Chan was there a bit earlier, that fight might have gone the other way if she got any sort of resets, because Greedo and... Oh yeah, Greedo was exceptionally late taking mid lane farm, I believe, at that moment. But nevertheless, still a very favorable trade coming out of AD Astra. They need all the gold they can get.
Yeah, this build on Fiddlesticks isn't quite common either. He's gone the route of the damage over time Fiddlesticks, so... And I think damage over time, particularly when you're behind, is a very weak build to go, because this is basically just scaling damage with enemy's health, but if they're taking damage over time, it's a lot harder to burst them out, so they have a lot more opportunity to drop their shields, drop their Zhonyas. It's hard to surprise people with damage over time, so there's a lot more counterplay. So it's not exactly the build I'd like to see out of Fiddlesticks. A lot of the time the Fiddlesticks do build the stuff like the Rocket Belt, so they can just try and one-shot you before those stuff like the Zhonyas can come through. But yeah, he's gone to damage over time, so they've really got to be dragging out these fights here if they want to be having any significant chance with the two AD carries dealing that slow burn of damage over time, and of course the Fiddlesticks now having that damage over time build. These fights have to go long, but unfortunately I think the goal is just nowhere near in their favor for them to win a long fight here. Alpine actually somehow gets out of that safely here, just walking in a straight line, juking out Corruption. That's just a bit of a misplay there for Corruption.
But a stroll and nearly died.
Yeah, hardly matters. They got the chunk out onto the support, and they're just tearing through the structures of AD Astra here. Yeah, they're playing it slow and methodical here. No crazy risks coming from the side of for fun. They're just playing by the book, resetting, looking for those other waves now to pressure the other lanes. And yeah, it doesn't look like they're giving much opportunity for AD Astra to do much of anything here in this game. And yeah, Alpine just trying to get wards for his team, probably going to go down, but unfortunately Corruption's not having the patience that he needs to land these stuns onto the support, and Alpine walks away from another potentially dangerous face check. But yeah, it's just a matter of time here. It's just the dragon's going to be spawning soon enough. It is only a cloud dragon, but even then a lot of these champions can benefit a lot from the reduced ability haste. Possibly even drop 2 ults in a fight if you're someone like that Syndra, already building a lot of that ability haste. But yeah, it's looking pretty difficult. A mobile champion like Syndra, of course, with that move speed as well, is going to be flying around the team fight after she drops that ultimate. It's quite underrated, I feel, and some of these are mobile champions. Oh, and looks like they're trying to make the play. They finally found something here. Firesoul's going to look for the knock-up. He doesn't find it onto Corruption, but Kelthalis is stunned here. Looks like they're trying to use the blast cone to get out, and they do just in time find it. So even all or nothing play to try and catch out them in the bot lane, which I did like that attempt, but unfortunately the blast cone is there to cut off any chance of catching them there. And they get out scot-free again.
Yeah, it's good that an inhibitor was taken. Hopefully AD Astra will be able to farm up whatever gold they can get trickling into their base. But another Baron going onto the side of Team FF, and Firesoul kind of poking, but just seeing if they're taking it. They actually will. It's looking hopeless at this point for AD Astra to hold on. Hopefully they'll be able to find a miracle team fight / mistake coming out of Team FF. But they're looking to poise in this mid lane for the win, I hope.
Yeah, it doesn't even look like they want to play the side lane games here. They'll just run it down mid here. They're probably more than fed enough to do it here, especially with that Baron buff. The wave player isn't spectacular on the side. They've got a Jinx, but the Jinx doesn't even have Runans, so her wave player isn't even that great. Looks like they're going for an all or nothing engage. That was a beautiful knock-up, and Kiratine has a beautiful flank here, going for Corruption, but we see that the tanky stats are just not there. Like, they're tanking this Crow Storm, and look how much damage it's dealt. Nowhere near enough, and the AD carries are just in no position to get near the carries of For Fun, and they're just completely running train on the side of ADS. So they gave it their best shot, I'll give it that, but unfortunately your best shot is not enough for the likes of For Fun, and they're going to be taking this game 1 of the night here in pretty convincing fashion.
Very convincing fashion. Pretty much made minimal mistakes and showed AD Astra how it's done. Unfortunately, draft didn't go quite their way. I saw what they were going for, but they were unable to execute. So congrats for Team FF picking up the win there.
Yeah, like, I think this is one of those draft differences. Of course, every game is winnable, but yeah, you're really not playing to strengths of your team, I think, is the main thing. There's drafts where you can pick comfort champions, and it's great and all, but even if these guys knew these champions really well, I don't think it was in line with the profile you've built as a team. Kirtine's your playmaking jungler. He goes around ganking your lanes, and yeah, the Easy Doctor in the past has usually picked these pretty aggressive laners that can, you know, set up for ganks, help his jungler rotate around, but there's not much of that this time, and yeah, they had basically zero proactivity because of it. Kirtine had some Crow Storms there, but a lot of them fell short there, ulting onto the Ornn, not dealing anywhere near enough damage. Just really didn't leave them much playmaking opportunities, so you can't even really blame AD Astra. This draft really was difficult for them to pull off. And yeah, of course, versus a player like Houdini already having such a great play in the early game to get that ball rolling, it's very difficult to make that comeback happen. So fortunately, they do go down there, but yeah, I guess now we can just talk about the MVPs and the SVPs of the game. So I'll start off with, for fun, who do you think the MVP is?
I think the fact they took away Kiritine's champ pool, then took Diana away, and were able to execute Diana at all points of the game. Even though Greedo had a pop-off game, it was just set up so well with his team in general, but just Houdini in terms of the kill participation, impacting the map in general, taking objectives, finding the right early ganks, and translating them into leads. I reckon Houdini takes the MVP in this one.
Yeah, I do want to look over Corruption. He definitely had a big impact this game and had some great moments, like he was 1v2ing at the Dragon, handling those 80 carries all by himself, but he also had a lot of missteps here and there with his combos. Of course, that Alistar play onto the tower probably would have looked a lot better if Corruption had landed his stun and he had some other ones go wide onto the support face checking him, but either way, he still had a great game there. I think he's worth honourable mention there, but of course Houdini basically had a flawless game. Definitely was crucial as to getting that early game rolling, and yeah, potentially even saving that bot lane, which was already on the back foot. The bot lane might have gone complete different direction if he hadn't intervened there, because it looks like AD Astra's bot lane came out swinging there in the bot lane. They fired on all cylinders and got a pretty good advantage straight away, but unfortunately Houdini's right there to punish, and yeah, they were just passive for the rest of the game. It really shot their bot lane in the foot there and stopped them from doing much. So yeah, I think Houdini definitely had the most crucial role in this game, so happy to give that one away to him. But in terms of SVP, quite a hard discussion, because yeah, we saw people trying to make plays, but like we talked about, there's just not much opportunity, and I guess at this sort of point you just try to commend the effort put in. Looking over at the damage graph here, it's easy to say that the 80 carries at a very bad time, and it's hard to argue a case in any world here to give it to the Vayne or the Jinx here. Of course, like, your 80 carries are putting out as much damage as the enemy support. It's probably not going to be looking great for you.
Yeah, that's not great at all.
And yeah, of course, Fired Soul in the top lane, and Alpine just being those CC bots, they're not really there to put out as much damage. So Kiratine really was the only one trying to make efforts, but even then, he had a lot of missteps. He directed a lot of his ganks onto that Ornn, which I didn't like at all. I think if he went to any other lane except for that Ornn, probably would have been a high success rate, but of course I think Houdini knew that, and he was playing around his other lanes. We saw basically the Ornn never got touched this game by there was just basically one odd gank by Houdini into that top lane, and after that he just really punished this mid lane and this bot lane. So yeah, even then, if he rotated down to the bot lane or mid lane, he probably would have been looking at a skirmish type scenario with a possible 3v3 or a 2v2, which probably isn't even in your favor there. But Kiratine
Yeah.
still tried to make it happen. He still put out a decent amount of damage onto that Fiddlesticks, but yeah, it's just nowhere near enough because, yeah, we see that big lack of damage there coming from the 80 carries. Just too much work for a Fiddlesticks to do on his own, especially with the gold deficit. But I can at least appreciate the attempt there from Kiratine. So,
Yeah, definitely. In terms of the actual champion, your job is to stay surprised, and the team pretty much mops up the fight. But the team was non-existent in this game. Bit of poor choices when it comes to Kiratine setups. So if he had Dark Harvest, if he had the right runes, if he had the right build, it could have looked a bit more different in some of those fights. So hopefully Kiratine can look back at the review and realize a bit of the missteps he took throughout the game. But nevertheless, yeah, happy to give SCP to Kiratine.
yep, looks like that is that then. We've still got a little bit of time towards our next game here, but maybe we can just talk a little bit about the two teams about to face off here. Youngbloods versus Casuarina Gentlemen is now on the cards. And yeah, let's transition over to the standings here. We can see that Casuarina Gentlemen are finding themselves towards the bottom, but they've had a few wins there that have allowed them to creep up a little bit onto that scoreboard. But
Some
of
big
course,
wins too.
yeah, Youngbloods being at the top there. I don't think their position at number 4 does them justice right now onto that scoreboard because, of course, they've missed out on a lot of their games. They haven't played as much. You see Jupiter's Angels on 12 games there, and Youngbloods have only played 10. So they've got a bit of catching up to do on terms of the scoreboard. So I think they're a bit underrated there, Youngbloods on the scoreboard, but they definitely have an opportunity to catch back up here. But if Casuarina Gentlemen are able to pick up this win versus Youngbloods, I think it's quite significant for the rest of the tournament's results.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Hopefully, Youngbloods and Casual Gentlemen come out swinging, and then we'll just see who winds up on top. Yeah, it would be exciting games, so stay tuned.
Yeah, well, we've still got another 10 minutes, guys, so we'll probably fade out to some music. We'll have a short intermission where you guys can grab refreshments. I feel like I need a little bit of something to heal my voice back up here, but yeah, we will be back with you in 10 minutes with that matchup, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you back then.
See you soon.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back at 8 p.m. here, ready to kick off our next match. And hopefully both teams are ready as well here. Looking forward to this matchup. Casuarina, gentlemen, versus Youngbloods here. A good one to end off the night here. Was hoping a little bit of more fight in that last game, but it was just over too soon, I think, for fun. Just ran a train.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for a little bit of a kicker to end us off here. But yeah, with Youngbloods being so dominant, having that 80% win rate, as you can see in the standings there, it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be a tall hill to climb for Casuarina, gentlemen, but they've beaten the likes of Destiny before. I do not put it past them to take a game of Youngbloods, but of course, it's easier said than done. We'll see whether they're able to do it here. But yeah, what do you think the game plan is going to be coming into this matchup here for Casuarina and German? They seem to have a new game plan every week between this team. They're picking different stuff all the time. I can't really figure this team out in terms of consistency. Yeah. So I wonder if, I don't know if you've got any other information.
Just based off what I've seen from them recently, and they're trying to find out what fits and what works and what doesn't, essentially. They must have probably studied Youngbloods in this essence, because I knew they studied Destiny before and I caught them off guard. But yeah, if they got that game plan, first step is to draft, ban out key picks from Youngbloods and just strong picks in general. And if they outdraft them, then all they have to do is execute. They do have the mechanics to actually pull it off. If they can outplay Destiny, they can outplay Youngbloods. So I'm looking at this draft phase.
Yep, we are just now hopping into the champion selection. Zyra has been taken off the board, which I believe Artur, last time he was playing in support, he pulled out that Zyra and showed NTEL Sports what he could do with it, and yeah, he had a beautiful game onto that Zyra. So already been taken off the board there. Respect ban for him. Viego being taken away from the side of Casuarina Gentlemen here, but I can't remember if Casuarina Gentlemen have played this one. Doesn't come to mind. I think they might have played it once, as you say. Maybe Malik's picked up because he seems to be playing something different, but maybe in that jungle role. Can't remember quite specifically, but I can tell you that Django has played Urgot this tournament. Surprise. So that one's taken off the board from him.
Yeah, and Singe taken off as well. I guess if you take away someone's comfort pick like Urgot, doesn't really have any real weaknesses in lane phase, able to scale up safely. But I guess the respect from Singe and Django's like, if you're going to take mine, I'm going to take yours. And they're going to take away Zoe. I'm sure they're going to take away something else from Casual Gentleman. Just depends on who, though. A
Yeah.
lot of targeted bans, yeah.
Yeah, of course. That's usually what my team tends to go for too. Though, of course, meta does matter, but I think comfort matters more in these sort of positions here. Of course, with Dark Knight being such a Zoe master, you don't want to be giving that to him. Django shown what he can do on that Urgot many games. Had that straight up 1v9 game versus Purple Cobras. He's shown that he can perform on these picks. So yeah, no surprise that getting taken away. But yeah, Bin Laden, I think most of the time when his Singe has been taken away, he's gone towards that Volibear. And of course, Volibear still being a flex pick is quite the good first rotation here for the side of Casuarina Gentleman. And normally they respond here picking Django's champion early. So I wonder what his response is to the Volibear. Of course, they're going to take that Janna there straight up. It's pretty safe support. Tons of peel, hard, pretty aggressive in lane still. If you watch the high yellow Jannas, they turn this peel support into a bit of a battle mage. They weave in and out. The autos do so much more damage. They've changed this champion a lot of times that I can't even I don't understand it anymore, because it used to be that shield bot, but they took a lot of her power out of her shield and gave her some damage on her W, gave her damage on her autos. Her Q is way better than it used to be. So yeah, this champion is quite different for the OGs like myself. So I wonder
Yeah.
if Artur is going to abuse that, because this champion is, I think this is the first Janna pick of the tournament, so I
Yes,
doubt they have any sort of knowledge going into this matchup. And the Trundle being taken there for Nickchu, still a flex pick, could go easily into that Volibear's, fine matchup into that, but can also go into that jungle or even the support role. It's just a lot less likely with that Janna being covered. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think they actually took Trundle away because I know CG been practicing Volibear and Trundle dives and engage and disengage. So yeah, Youngblood's probably taking that away from Casual Gentleman, and Syndra being hovered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back-to-back Cinder games, looks like that is it. She's picking up a lot more traction up into the professional scene, and now she's made her way into next year esports. Of course, this champion was a bit of a staple for a lot of the mid laners of last season. Dark Knight himself played it quite a bit, because his Zoe was, of course, taken off a lot. He did go to that Syndra a lot, and great mid laners like DST Guard have been known to play Syndra. But yeah, since those nerfs, she hasn't really been played. But now she's coming straight back into the meta. All it took was a little bit of mana, apparently, and everyone's loving their Syndra again.
Yep, and they're going to target 80 carry. They know Iron Sigma's playing, so we're going to take away the strong picks from his champ pool. And maybe Casual Gentleman will do the same with Ship, but we'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, and I think 80 carry is pretty important here.
Ooh.
Normally, we see, that Lissandra ban is quite interesting there, but we see Youngblood's bot lane being a pivotal part of their carry. The Youngblood's bot lane always playing so aggressive, usually building plenty of leads here, but it's the same for Casual Gentleman. I don't think they play quite as aggressive, but Iron Sigma always finds himself doing pretty well into these games, having that professional background onto Destiny, coming over to the Casual Gentleman side. He's looked like a star player on this roster, so definitely helps Bin Laden, because Bin Laden usually has plenty of good carries. Yeah, Spingding, his champion pool is getting a bit thin there with that Vayne getting taken away. I know
But he has one big one left. So.
Yeah, he does favour that Lucian, but it's not exactly the champion that fits in the meta. Nor does it go. Yeah, but he does go towards his other champs. Caitlyn, of course, and I believe Iron Sigma when he beat Destiny. I'm not sure if it was when he beat Destiny, but he had another great game on Caitlyn. So of course that takes it away from Iron Sigma as well. So there's not too much AD carries left for him. 4 been taken off the board in terms of bans, and now his Caitlyn is gone. He's gonna have to be searching for something to play here.
Or Nash, yeah.
Yeah, Ashe is the pretty safe pick. A lot of teams do fall back onto this pick when the pool gets pinched. Normally everyone forgets about that Ashe champion just because it's nothing crazy, but Ashe has been steadily climbing the ranks of the 80 carries. If you look at her solo queue win rate, it's kind of through the roof, thanks to items like Wits End really enabling her. But this doesn't even look like a good Wits End comp though, and are we going to be seeing that Volibear jungle here? Because that Malphite is getting hovered. But no,
Oh,
switches
that's
over
even
to the
better.
Cho. And yeah, they've got
Yep.
quite the composition for themselves here. They've got two beefy boys in the front line and two pretty capable carries, Malix and Iron Sigma, and of course Conditioner. I mean, Frog Spotter, I believe, used to be the jungler, but now he finds himself playing that Nami support, trying to keep his teammates alive. And surely they don't do it. I don't think we've seen a Karthus either in the NTE
Nah,
spots.
he's not
And
gonna lock this in, is he? Yeah.
yeah,
Trundle
uh,
jungle.
Trundle jungle with that Lux support. I don't like
Lux mid,
yeah,
Lux top. Yeah.
Lux support does fit a lot better with that Caitlyn, but yeah, the Janna is probably more
Oh.
likely into that. But yeah, I wouldn't even be surprised to see a Janna mid. Honestly, like, I don't think even she's that troll in that role, and I think Lux does pair a lot better with your Caitlyn. But yeah, it doesn't really have as much threat as that Syndra, but still, Lux is going to be having to dodge out onto those stuns here. Still, she has that range, but still by no means a favorable matchup with just how much gank setup and damage Syndra brings to the table to that mid lane. It's going to be difficult for Dark Knight to win out on this, but he's proven himself more than capable in the past, so I'm looking forward to see how his Lux plays out. And yeah, how the rest of the composition goes. Bin Laden actually maybe faked them out because he usually goes onto that Volibear, but he saved his pick for last there. Cho'Gath comes through and he's gotten that into the set matchup here. So wondering how Django is going to perform against one of the better top laners in the league here. Of course, Django has been making a name for himself as one of the better top laners too. Of course, you don't have any weak links on the side of Young Bloods here. Otherwise, teams probably would have exploited them by now. Django has been standing up in his own right, and yeah, we'll see whether he's able to withstand Bin Laden's Shogath here. But yeah, interesting matchups across the board, and I'm looking pretty excited to this game because, in my opinion, there's no clear draft winner. I think last time I would have given it pretty easily over to For Fun, but now it's not the case. I think both teams have drafted themselves pretty decent compositions here. If anything, I'm a bit leaning towards Casuarina Gentleman just because the damage does get quite lacking. You've got an Enchanter support that doesn't really deal too much damage, can keep your Caitlyn and Lux alive. But Caitlyn is one of those 80 carries that has to be pretty accelerated, otherwise she does have that big mid-game drop-off. And Lux, of course, I think if Lux isn't snowballing, then she is not one-shotting those champions, and if she's not one-shotting those champions with her combo, then she loses a lot of that threat. She's not going to be DPSing the Cho'Gath or the Volibear as much as you'd like. So we'll see whether their own frontliners, Trundle and Set, can bring the damage. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I reckon Casual Gentleman won draft based off late game prowess, so Ash will scale infinitely, just about. Cho'Gath will scale with his ultimate. Volibear kind of falls off a bit depending on what runes he goes, and Syndra will just be able to one-shot whoever in the later parts of the game. So Youngbloods will probably have to do a bit more setting up around vision and making sure things work out in their favor, but in terms of CG, if they play the 5v5 well, I think they can actually take this, but we'll just see how Youngbloods respond, being the second place team in the tournament, so to speak, if they win their next couple of games. So I reckon CG won draft, but we're going to see how the 5v5 goes.
Yep, but we still have a bit of time left on the spectator delay, so we're going to go over to our major sponsors here. Of course, thank you to the major sponsors, Territory's own Paul's Iced Coffee. Haven't been able to grab some for myself since lockdown has been in place, but yeah, now that it's lifted, I'll be wearing my face mask down to the nearest grocery store and probably picking some up, which is this lockdown. I've still been essential, so I've still been going to work in the morning, and it's been a lot harder. Tell you that much. Northern Territory government, of course, they're the reason why we're still safe from this lockdown. The reason why they responded so quick, and even though some people might not agree with their actions, I think they're doing a pretty good job. So thank you to the Northern Territory government and McDonald's Darwin, of course. With all the other places shut down, where else would you turn to when you're hungry at lunchtime? Of course.
Sometimes I wonder if they're actually even open. It's COVID, but it's McDonald's Day.
Yeah, it's McDonald's. The grind never stops for McDonald's. But yeah, the other minor sponsors we will give our shout outs to next year: Entertainment, Serotonic Beauty, I've just transitioned to the wrong screen there. VR Gamers, Gaming Creations, Tracy Village Social and Sports Club, Hard Springs Tavern, The Rabbit Hole, Pallets of India, Fresh Point Cafe, John John's, Diamond Barbers, District North Kitchen, Wicked Energy, Joyce Main, Next Level Gym, and Bell Accounting. Support them guys. They've just been through a lockdown like the rest of us, but unfortunately owning a business is a bit harder. But yeah, it has been hard on all of us. Let's not sugarcoat things. Of course, not having I've had the essential job, so I've been fine. But yeah, a lot of people might have been missing out on a few hours of pay there because of this. So just support them where you can, guys. Let's just all help each other in this time of need. But yeah, without further ado, we'll get into the gameplay here. Already loaded onto the Summoner's Rift. And yeah, we'll see. Teams later on in this competition have really not been doing any crazy plays in level 1, and I don't think these compositions are really the ones to do it either. Maybe Youngblood's looking to stack this bush here, but yeah, I might have spoken too soon as both teams are barreling towards each other.
Oh.
Yeah. They do split off here, looks like. Unfortunately, Malix is going towards that bottom side, just drop the wards. The rest of his team looking for a topside play. Nikshu, though, also splitting off. He might be walking straight into the waiting arms of Casuarina Gentleman, but he might even spot out Malix here. Oh, it's scary because the Cho'Gath can knock him up, but he's playing it patient here and looks like he's spotted them out. But yeah, they haven't sold anything here. In fact, Bin Laden should just fake that he's gone for the solo ward himself. Maybe the rest of his team could have looped around, played around that fog ward a little bit. But looks like they're convinced, the whole team's there, that they're walking into the bot side jungle, getting those wards. And yeah, I think, honestly, this trade hasn't been much of a trade, but it's gone in Youngblood's favor so far. Looks like they're going to get a little bit of damage onto Django, but certainly no kill. But yeah, I think Youngbloods do, even though Django cops a little bit of damage there, I think they come out on top with that vision onto the red buff as we see right now. Then Conditioner has not backed for a sweep or anything, so they're going to get full information off of this Volibear.
Yep.
Pretty good information. I think they did get their own ward, and Nikshu actually has started topside, so yeah, it looks like a bit of an even trade. I don't even see when they snuck in to get that ward down, and that's a beautiful Q from Janna and Caitlyn putting down a Q of her own, stacking that damage onto Frog Spotter. They've got a beautiful little trade there to start off the lane. Of course, Youngblood's bot lane has always been aggressive. They're looking for these cheese plays, so already finding such a good trade for themselves is going to set themselves up in a pretty good position.
Yeah, both Janna and Nami both had the lowest base armors in the game, so I wouldn't be surprised some level 2 shenanigans. I was hoping to see Bin Laden be a bit more aggressive with the HP advantage early on in the lane phase, but allows Django to shove in this wave for free. I guess he just wants to farm for a while and doesn't want anything to do with the set. But I'm interested to see this mid lane matchup. Syndra on... No, Malix on Syndra and Dark Knight on Lux. You would think the Syndra would actually win out over time, but Dark Knight is known to be a very formidable mid laner in this scene and is able to pretty much outpoke the champion, but get punished here straight away.
As soon as you're talking him up, he eats a full Syndra combo to the face there. But I think he'll be okay. He's got the barrier into this matchup, so it's going to be a lot harder for the Syndra to find the kills. And of course, Nikshu has shown himself as one of the better junglers this tournament. He's just non-stop finding successful ganks for the side of Youngbloods, and looks like he's about to find another one. He has his flash. Malix hasn't opted to drop it yet, but he might actually regret it. Nikshu was cutting off his flash, but I think that was a huge error from Malix flashing up here. He's trying to pretend he's a wolf, but I think Nikshu has eyes on his... Oh my god. I don't think you're going to be fooling him here. Maybe you should have picked Warwick mid if you're opting for that strategy. But unfortunately, he gets found out there. But he had a bit of an opportunity, the Trundle flash over the wall, but I don't think he might have seen it from that perspective. So he might not have known, but he had an opportunity to flash back onto Dark Knight and try to get the kill back by flashing back on top of him over the skill shot. Unfortunately... does go down there, but at least he wasted a lot of time, at least giving Conditioner a lot more opportunity to catch back up into this to this creep score advantage that Nikshu had. And yeah, this Volibear looks like he's going for the full clear, which isn't normally what we see out of the Volibear. Normally we're seeing a lot more ganks because he is such an early game powerhouse, but Goes for the full clear here, it seems, looking for his double scuttle, but Nixu's already beat him towards that. Bin Laden, if he hit that Q, would have had quite the positive trade, and yeah, has Django in the back foot here into that top lane, so Bin Laden showing himself as one of the better top laners. Django by no means out of it yet, but a little bit of a CS lead building up there, and Malix with no flash, of course. Nixu comes in with the pillar. This is so hard to play out as a Syndra. He doesn't find the stun, but he at least buys himself some space, and here comes Conditioner trying to trade the kill back. He might be able to do it if his W comes back off cooldown, but he doesn't even need it, and Dark Knight is trying to avenge his jungler, which he will quite successfully there. And of course, when you're playing the Syndra as that immobile mid versus a Trundle of all champs, it's just so difficult. You have to make sure you have knowledge on him at all times, otherwise he just walks into your lane and presses E behind you. Much ado about nothing in that situation. Lux is just going to find the free skill shots on you, and that's all she wrote. But at least Conditioner comes through. They find 1 kill back, but it's at the cost of 2 kills there. And Dark Knight's going to be sitting pretty in this mid lane here with 2 kills already on the board.
Yeah, it does have the XP advantage, the Dark Seal advantage. Hopefully he's able to snowball the game even further. But I like Bin Laden being aggressive with Corrupting Potion, able to take an advantage of Django this early part of the game. But Lux hovering in topside.
Yeah, going for the roam onto Bin Laden. He was giving Django a lot of trouble, but looks like he's come here to save the day, and Django ends up picking that kill onto Bin Laden. So already, Dark Knight showing such activity this game, doing so well for himself and his team, setting his team up for success so early on. So you love to see it, and on a pick you might not expect. You won't usually expect the Luxons to make roaming plays like that, but it shows up. And yeah, he's already found a beautiful lead for his team.
Oh no, not again.
Yeah, he had the ward this time, but unfortunately I think he just didn't think Dark Knight was here, so he might have fancied his chances against the Trundle, but unfortunately Dark Knight doesn't back. He just walks back to his lane and finds another kill, and Dark Knight is now got 100% kill participation, 5 kills on the board at 6 minutes. He's going to be sitting on a lot of gold, has enough to buy that lost chapter, and he's in a great position this game to carry.
Yep, and especially with Lux, where you're able to keep your distance, you don't have to worry about anyone collapsing on you essentially, and they're going to take an early dragon as well. So young blood starting out strong very early parts of the game, and Malik's just not respecting the Trundle pillar or just Trundle in general as a champion. That slow is definitely underrated, probably one of the better abilities in the game if you just want to repeat gank over and over.
Yeah, it's not much you can do as a Syndra. If you took the phase rush, you have a lot of a better chance, but unfortunately he's on the electrocute route, so there's no slow resistance there to be had, so it is just certain doom once that happens. Looks like Bin Laden's going to be going for a trade onto Django here, but he seems concerned that there's someone else around, doesn't want to trade too much with that set. I find very surprising. Bin Laden has to know he has an advantage in this lane. He has a level up and he's got plenty of CS over his opponent. Should be looking to press that lead even further, but maybe he doesn't want to touch the minion wave too much as his jungler is on the top side. Might be setting up for a potential gank, and Iron Sigma is in a bad spot here. He went in for the ward, but the jungler was there to catch him out. And Django is in a bad spot here. He doesn't have the flash. Conditioner's there onto the flank, and looks like they're going to be picking up this kill. No feast for the Cho'Gath available to eat him, but they do find that kill eventually. It was a bit scary there for a moment, but yeah, they do find that one. And another repeat gank from Nixu. He's somehow finding all these ganks while being level 6. He's still farming his camps, but he's still ganking non-stop and just putting so much pressure onto the side of Casuarina gentleman here. Nixu has just been a non-stop ganking machine.
Very good. Actually very good coming out of Nixu, showing that early game Trundle with PTA, with the pillar, can absolutely wreak havoc, but they probably underestimated R2's slow and engage and exhaust play. But it's not looking good.
Yeah, the bubble doesn't land on any of the targets. Looks like they're trying to figure out who's going to finish him off, and Spring Ding with the Caitlyn ult does find it there. If he found the bubble onto Artur while he was tanking tower, or possibly the bubble onto Nixu just as he took aggro, might have been able to find a kill there, but unfortunately bubble misses everyone, and yeah, just more gold going into the pockets of Youngbloods. They're running away with this game, and Casuarina gentlemen have to do something to find themselves back into this one, because right now it's looking so difficult.
Yeah, looking very difficult, and the tower's already at levels where you can use a rift and essentially take it this early in the game. But now experience levels is definitely showing a bit of an XP deficit coming out of Casuarina Gentlemen and just Youngbloods running away with it, like you mentioned. Able to pick up 3 early plates and solo gold, going on to shifting, just looking really poised to pick up a very first early item.
Yeah, we see how rich this trio is. Nikshu, Dark Knight, and Sping Ding right now. So rich, about 1,000 gold up each. So yeah, basically the bulk of the gold lead onto those 3 champions. And yeah, I don't know how he does it. Nikshu is consistently out farming his opponent while just non-stop ganking for the side of Youngbloods. He's just absolutely running train on them. And yeah, it's just Conditioner needs to step up his game here somehow. It might be too little too late. There's already 7 kills onto the board. And look, Nikshu is not done. He's coming back down for more Conditioner. Maybe coming down for the counter gank, but he's not pathing towards bot. Frog Spotter just trying to get out. Nikshu going all in for this, but that is an Ash. You can slow people as the trundle, but unfortunately yourself, you're very susceptible to slows as well. So you're going to get kited out there. Dark Knight finding a great trade, but that's not enough. He's going to flash forward to try to find the kill, but unfortunately, Conditioner is here. He has no flash to get out and no barrier, so he's going to get picked up, giving the shutdown over to Conditioner, but still gets the kill. But you've got to be careful who you're giving that shutdown to. Volibear is doing alright, all things considered. And yeah, but this bot lane is unfortunately nowhere near as strong as that. And yeah, they're just trying to defend their own tower, and unfortunately there's too much poke. Too many traps. Eventually just gets taken down by the Caitlyn there. But yeah, Conditioner making a pretty good play in the mid lane to pick up some gold of his own.
Yeah, and I just want to point out, Shipton actually made an underrated play. Place a trap right under the tower where it was not in vision, and Iron Sigma just walked over the top and pretty much got comboed by Caitlyn to finish that one off. So a little outplay coming out there from Caitlyn. Well done.
Yeah, that is your biggest enemy when you're playing against Caitlyn, is just being able to hide it behind those towers. Is such a strong mechanic for you there. It doesn't glow or anything, even if you zoom in your camera like you are against Baron wards. You might be able to do it, but oh, they just missed out there. But that gave Bin Laden some vision, but he still might get caught out because look how strong that pillar is. Nikshu brings a lot of damage to the table, but all it needs is Django to catch up and find that stun, which he does. But Bin Laden's flashing out there. He actually dodges out onto the Lux ult and he tries to drop as much damage as he can, but I don't think it's enough. Of course, Set holding onto that W. Having that humongous shield is going to walk out of that just fine, but looks like they're trying to punish on the other side of the map and pick up a dragon for themselves.
And Caitlyn and Janna actually do have a lot of agency to poke them off it, unless Malix actually lands a crucial combo or an arrow coming out of Iron Sigma, but they're going to probably just give this one away for free. They don't want to give it anyway. Shut down gold to the enemy team, but now good rotational play coming out of CG, very proactive in picking up that dragon.
Yeah, and looks like they are just gonna call it quits after that. Just go back to the lanes, but still that they got the dragon, but there was so much gold to be had in that top lane for Youngbloods. Artur is just showing zero respect here, just walking up to the face of that volley there, because he knows he has Nikshu off in the wings backing him up. Such confidence.
I just realized that the dragon that's going to be coming up is more favorable for Youngbloods. If he's able to trundle to get well-placed pillars, he's able to block up those alcoves going into the river, as the gaps are a lot smaller due to the foundational rock that's in between those entrances. So I'd like to see some of those plays moving forward.
Yeah, of course, so many champions on the side of Youngbloods, such as Lux and that Caitlyn being able to choke up those choke points, being able to drop those traps now, because it's a lot skinnier of a position, but looks like, oh, nice combo that the pillar, pushing him back into the binding. That probably wasn't coordinated, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt because, yeah, that was beautiful. Dark Knight and Nikshu synergizing there to find that little combo to guarantee that kill onto the Bin Laden. Look at Youngbloods, they're making plays all over the map. Meanwhile, this Casuarina Gentleman bot lane just have nothing to do. They're just farming the scraps of what's left there in the bot lane. The rest of the team is so active, making plays around the map. And
no reason to be in bot lane anymore, so they might as well roam mid and take mid tower while Rift comes up in just a moment.
Yeah, this is probably one of the worst things to deal with if bot lane does lose, is because you have 2 champions now that can roam anywhere they want, all over the map, and yeah, it's just, you feel like you're outnumbered everywhere you go, especially if your bot lane isn't moving like that. It's just so hard to win out on the rest of the map. But yeah, they're just run and train here. It doesn't look like it is going to be that close game I was hoping for, because it's already about an 8,000 gold lead this early on into the game, and looks like it's not stopping anytime soon. We see them just trying to make plays non-stop. Iron Sigma hasn't channeled his recall. Frog Spotter just says, good luck, buddy. He's just gone there, and he's trying his hardest. He's trying to flash the skill shots. Oh, he dodges out onto the laser, gets hit by a tornado. He is not long for this world, but at least Frog Spotter gets out. Normally it's the other way around though. Normally the support's trying to sacrifice themselves for the AD carry, but this support doesn't care. The supporter would rather save his KDA than the AD carry.
Yeah, looking very rough for Casuarina Gentleman at the moment. Just cannot get the vision down, not able to keep track of Youngbloods, and they're just falling apart here, unfortunately. This Caitlyn and Lux are so accelerated thanks to this wonderful trundle of Nikshu that he is, making all the proactive plays around the map. And it's actually really rare to see someone just repeat gank over and over again, but if you don't have summoners, you might as well give it a go.
Yeah, it just makes sense, especially if you're playing against a player like Malix who just doesn't give you any respect, you know? Why wouldn't you? These are usually the players that lose their mind after the 4th gank and stuff like that. So,
he's here again? Come on.
Yeah. The mental game is a big part of League of Legends, even at the professional level. Like, it's a big part of players playing worse than they tilt. Everyone experiences it, and even on the professional stage, quite easy to find yourself. I know a lot of the professional teams try and allow themselves like a long break before games, before getting back into it, and just like resetting their mentality. And even Riot Games puts professional policies in place for teams trying to exploit the mental side of things. For example, one of our own Oceanic teams got fined. One of our own Oceanic teams got fined the other day because they were BMing mid-game, and yeah, that's no stranger to the Oceanic Leagues. Been copping a lot of fines in our history, but yeah, there's not much to commentate in the bot lane, unfortunately. That is just Bing Ding being super fed, just running train. But there is a lot to commentate in this top lane, that the top lanes are having a go at each other. Django trying to escape Bin Laden, but he brings all the slow, then he's just going to bring the feast to take him down, and Django goes down to Bin Laden in that 1v1. The mathematically correct set build isn't going to be helping him anytime soon there.
Doesn't help against Nom Nom, so that's for sure.
Yes. So, I don't know, maybe he should have been opting for the boots of swiftness instead of the cooldown boots, because yeah, it would have stopped him from getting slowed so much by that Cho'Gath. But he finds a stun under the tower. He's going to drop the ult, and the last tower shot chunks him down. Malix finds a beautiful kill there onto the mid laner, but still loses his towers for his efforts. But at least finds the
feel good. Unfortunately, lost all his stacks.
Oh yeah,
Dark Knight.
Yeah, it probably feels worse for Dark Knight, if anything, you know. Found the best of a bad situation. It looks like they're looking for a play onto Sping Ding. Bin Laden here, I don't even think he needs to land the knock
he's
up.
So big!
Yeah, he just steps onto that trap, but look at the slows he's bringing. There's no flash on this Caitlyn, so he's just going to get taken down.
Unlucky.
And yeah, he just drops the heal, and looks like Casuarina Gentlemen have an opportunity to pick up the next dragon because of those errors. They're already on it. Looks like they're not opting to fight. Django is finding this flanking position, but they just don't have the champions there. I don't see this hero play going well for him if he opts for it.
Okay.
Now he's just on the enemy's side of the jungle here, and there are a lot of pings going his way, and he's trying to hide, but he's getting spot out by the Ashe here. That is not going through. Here comes the cavalry to hunt down Django. He has flash, but he does have no chance to do that at all. Just gets immediately taken down.
Is this the Caster's Curse blade, where we just thought it was looking over, and then all of a sudden CG breathed some life into this game, got some gold on crucial carries such as Malix on Syndra and Cho'Gath, or Bin Laden on Cho'Gath, able to find those pivotal kills. Hopefully they can get Iron Sigma going on this Ashe, but they got a tall hill to climb, that's for sure.
Yeah, they have made some plays back, but unfortunately it's not enough. This gold lead is still astronomical there. I believe they reduced it by about 1,000. So you're working your way there, but you're gonna make another 7 of those plays before you're back up to even with this team. And yeah, I don't know how a team like Youngbloods is going to consistently make errors like that, but it might start here. Next year going for that play, but he's not able to find Malik on his own. Looks like Dark Knight's rotating over. They want to find this blue buff, but Bin Laden says, nom nom, that is mine, thank you very much, and returns to his top lane.
I really like seeing Cho'Gath in terms of just how big he can get, and well, my top laner Nucleus, he loves playing that champion, but he gets bored of it pretty quick as well. So,
Yeah.
But nah, very interesting champion to watch. Just watching people try to kill him over a period of like 20 seconds, unless you're a Vayne or something. Then, yeah, big Cho'Gath, big plays coming out of Youngbloods.
Yeah, unfortunately, Frog Spotter finds himself in the harm's way there. That Janna with Australia's, as well as just dropping the flash on him, brings the slows, brings the speed up. Easy pick up there for Spingding. And yeah, looks like Dark Knight's trying to chunk out the Conditioner here, dropping the whole combo, but Conditioner's pretty tanky, boy. He's still got half his health left. But yeah, nowhere near as tanky as Bin Laden. But oh yeah, Spingding making another positional error, gets picked off there. Malix playing the patient game in the bush, getting some revenge for the earlier games.
Come on, Casuarina gentlemen, you can do it. Punish their mistakes and overconfidence here. As long as your base is still alive, you can come back in this game. You do have the later game composition, but we'll just see how long they can last.
I don't think the Youngbloods even win out on this exchange here. Bin Laden, as you can see, so tank. But what's going on in the bot side? Django finds himself in between two champions, and the Conditioner is trying to pick off Artur. He burns the ultimate to peel himself off, and he's going to have the tornado to get out of that one, but still Django gets taken down, and another play being made bot. But yeah, they're making so many plays, but the gold lead doesn't seem to be changing. Doesn't feel like it's enough with all the advantages that Youngbloods are picking up. They're picking up towers, they're picking up all the jungle camps. It's just the gold lead, they're making plays and they're bringing these kills back, but the gold lead isn't in their favor still, which is the ultimate thing they need to just balance out if they're going to have a shot at this game. But at least they're giving it their best shot here. They're finding the kills, trying to catch Youngbloods sleeping. They're getting a bit sloppy when it comes to finishing out this game, but looks like that's only going to make it even harder as Youngbloods now pivot towards this Baron. They're grouping up, and once they group up as 5, you're probably not going to find any more picks.
Oh,
Spingding trying to damage this monster that is Cho'Gath, tickling him a little bit here, but he's feeling pretty okay.
no armor penetration, so it's going to take him quite a while to chunk out that big boy Bin Laden.
But unfortunately,
oh no,
no armor penetration, but no magic resist for Conditioner. Finds himself in the binding of Dark Knight and gets easily taken down by Dark Knight there, and they're going to pivot straight towards that Baron. Another 21-minute Baron today.
They're going to pretty much take this one for free unless Cho'Gath wants to go for the hero play, but he's going to get punished straight away with that pillar.
Oh, he tries to find the feast, but it's blocked by the W from set. The Haymaker shield just blocks it completely, and look at young Sigma. He's trying to bring all the damage he can. Django comes in, but yeah, just not enough damage being dealt. Malik said, we saw how much, that's a single E auto from Dark Knight there, and he tries to find the ultimate, but not quite. But still, at least they're swinging back. Iron Sigma can deal some damage if he's given the time to deal it, but it's very difficult trying to find that opportunity with all these.
Was that a smite?
Looks like he just smited for the health, but I don't think Casuarina gentlemen are even contesting.
Condition is here if he gets there in time, but they're going to give it away for free. Maybe they're going to opt for the dragon at this stage. Yeah, they're going to ping towards that dragon, actually get a win condition potentially out of the Mountain Soul, and Youngbloods are willing to concede it with Baron control.
Yeah, we'll see if they're able to get that final dragon though. That's the one that matters the most here.
Yeah.
And that's still a few minutes away. With that Baron, it's going to be very hard to survive the oncoming onslaught from the side. And Cho'Gath's trying to eat that dragon, but his jungler is apparently better at smiting than him and takes it away. No Cho'Gath stack for you. And yeah.
I should really give him the stack, but oh well, smite away, I suppose. But now the gold lead has definitely ballooned back up to 10k. Just see if Casuarina gentlemen can hold the door and try to prevent this base being cracked, but it's not looking good at the moment.
Yeah, we'll see what they can do now. Some strong items being built onto the side of
Oh.
Youngblood's going to make it harder. That Horizon focus on that Lux is going to make it hurt a lot more if she's finding the max range combo.
You got it.
And yeah, Alex
Nice.
picks up the red buff. Small victories, that's what they're aiming for here. But I think it was a pretty big victory for Youngbloods picking up that Baron. We'll see what else they're able to convert it to. We saw Casuarina Gentleman was slowly bringing it back, but that Baron just gives them so much more gold now. It's now ballooned to a 10k gold lead. But still, they've got some fight left in them, but Caitlyn is starting to get to that late game point now, and she's going to be hurting like a truck with that Infinity she's just completed. Bin Laden's in a very bad spot here. He's in the middle of two champs. The rotates are coming through.
He's too big.
Yeah, they're starting to rotate through, but I don't know if it's enough. It's still a 3v2 there, but Malix is finally here. There's no W for the side of Django, and he gets taken down there. And now they're looking for a play into Spingding, but he's got too much movement. But the arrow comes through, flashing in a straight line. Are they going to be able to catch him? And he does get picked up, flashing in a straight line. It's not very effective versus global ultimates like Asholt. I'll tell you that much.
The Baron play is foiled. CG, hold the door. The Baron buff is probably going to time out by the time Shifting actually gets back up and pushes the lane out. So free mid turret coming for Casuarina Gentleman, making all the right plays.
Yeah,
Well
they
done.
fire back there after the little distraction tactic on the top side. They actually find Caitlyn in the mid lane, even though she's so powerful with that Infinity Edge. She can't do much on her own, especially versus all the CC they fired at her. They fired the Hash ult, they fired the Nami ult, they fired the Syndra stun, they had the Volibear stun. That was a little bit overkill for the poor side of Spingding caught out there on his lonesome, but yeah,
they pretty much threw the whole kitchen sink at Shifting, and it was for a good reason as well, or else they would have been able to shove down these turrets with Caitlyn's range and Artur's disengage. So small victories coming out for Casuarina Gentleman, able to bring the gold lead back down to just around 8k. They're definitely lingering around. They're not out of this just yet. And Dragon is coming up soon too.
Yeah, they haven't rolled over and died by any means, but this next Dragon, Youngbloods definitely have their eye on. I'm hoping that Conditioner can find himself in a position where he's able to find a magical steal or anything of the sort, but he just has no flash up for the next Dragon fight. I don't know how it's going to be possible.
Yeah, well, Bin Laden has Flash and Feast up by the time it comes up, so maybe he's going to make the hero play himself, who knows.
Yeah.
But they do have a lot of agency to secure this last dragon, and maybe that will force both teams to make uncharacteristic mistakes because they'll be pressured around this dragon control. But Youngblood's not having any of it. They're pretty much spanned out. They have vision everywhere, and they're looking for a pick.
Yeah, it looks like they were messing around before.
Oh.
They'll split in all over the map, but not this time. They are grouped up as 5 around this dragon area, controlling all the vision. We see the side of Youngbloods. Yeah, just look at this red side vision compared to the blue side. It's complete darkness for them. And yeah, it's going to be so hard for Conditioner to find himself anywhere near that Baron or even Bin Laden. But they actually do have a pretty good flank ward there for Bin Laden. If they do opt for any big plays, I'd like to see that utilized. But
Could happen. Yeah, they have the vision with Iron Sigma's Hawkshot, but that's all they have at the moment. Just pretty much red all over CG's jungle at this point, and they're just waiting around. I would like to see them farm up a bit more, but they're probably at that stage where they can probably close this game out and just waiting for Casuarina Gentleman to make a mistake.
yeah, we'll see what happens here. Dark Knight is just wiping out all these wards. They continue to place down. He's just controlling that one bush next to the Raptors so well. Finally, they get that ward out of there, but still, they've got a lot more bushes to go before the dragon, and Youngbloods aren't even look like they want to take this dragon. They just want to catch them on the rotation, it seems. Dragon about to spawn now, and yeah, Youngbloods are now falling back towards that dragon, but they need to make sure this Volibear is in no position to ult over the wall, or the Cho'Gath's in no position to flash. Looks like the Lux ult goes wide, but that's a huge set W over the wall. Are they going to go for it? And they find it! They find a steal, and they're coming through with more kills. The tanks are in there, but I don't think they can the team can assist. They are going to go down. Iron Sigma actually runs all the way in, and I think there's a huge mistake now with the lanes pushing in. You needed to get that steal and get out with your lives, but now that all the champions have fallen over, they can just end the game. So it might have been too much to chew for the likes of Casuarina Gentlemen, as this mid lane now is pushed up and the spawn timers are another 20 seconds. I think they can end this game here.
Yep. Nothing but Malix in between the whole world and his Nexus. So hopefully he's able to clear this cannon minion, so to speak, but probably not.
Yeah, even then, Artur is just sacrificing his life to distract here. They're going to continue to push. Still, they're just starting to spawn now, but I think it's way too little too late. The Condition tries his hardest, but they find the victory there. And yeah, the Casuarina Gentlemen gave it their best shot. They found the Mountain Soul somehow after being 8,000 gold plus down for the whole match, but unfortunately it's not enough there. As they make that one little error, they find their Nexus exploding, and my game's just frozen, so I'm just gonna alt F4 that one. But yeah, they gave it a pretty good shot there for Casuarina Gentlemen. At least didn't roll over. They tried to give Youngbloods their best shot, but alas, Youngbloods are on top for a reason, and they will continue to stay on top, it seems, with great performances like that. And yeah, just looking at the damage chart, Dark Knight, of course, being on top, but yeah, Nixu putting out a lot of damage, just as much as Sping that game. If I may just talk about the MVPs for the side of Youngbloods, I think Nixu's argued a pretty good case for himself. Like he's shown perfectly what Trundle can do to you versus immobile champs like Syndra. There's nothing Malix could have really done except just respect him in the first place. He needed to be playing back. He needed to get proper vision and play around that Trundle, because he visited his lanes like 4 or 5 times, and each time was picking up Malix. And Malix played pretty well this game, spared the laning phase. If you look at his scoreline, he had 5 deaths, and I think he died like those 5 deaths in laning phase to ganks and skirmishes and stuff like that. So Malix was actually playing a pretty good game on the Syndra, and if Nixu wasn't putting him so far behind, who knows how this game would have gone. So I think he had a huge play there. Of course, Dark Knight having a really good game here too, roaming around the map on that Lux, finding some beautiful plays, but no huge assassinations. I was looking for the Lux binding one-shots, but not to be had today, but still had pretty great game, put out an amazing amount of damage onto that Lux pick, and shown that maybe more teams should be looking to play a Lux mid every now and then.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think if anyone, Nick Chu has shown that his Sejuani is to be feared, but also this Trundle, if you're not giving him the proper respect he deserves. Yeah, maybe think twice about picking that Syndra mid if you're into that Trundle, because yeah, it's very scary being these immobile champs versus that pillar. So Nick Hughes, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. Just punishing Malix's lack of respect, like you mentioned. Nick Chu enabling his carries, Lux and Caitlyn, to the point where they were pretty much nearly had double gold on their opposing counterparts. But took their time closing this one out. But nah, proper props to Nick Chu actually carrying Youngbloods, so to speak, with his high kill participation rate and just being overall everywhere on the map besides dragons. But he was able to just repeat gank over and over again like a broken record. So yeah, MVP going to Nick Chu on this Trundle. Well done.
Yep, and for the side of SBP, it is a bit of a tougher discussion, in my opinion. Conditioner, he had some good plays, but it's just when you compare him to the side of Nick Chu, just nowhere near the amount of success that he had. But yeah, even players like Malix had a terrible start, and of course he should have played around that, but he had a pretty good game on the back half of things there. Players like Iron Sigma too didn't have the best time in laning phase. They were making some great arrows. They were having some great team fights where they're putting out a lot of damage. But yeah, I think if I was to give it away, maybe want to give it away to Bin Laden, just because he did have the most successful laning phase, in my opinion. He did find that solo kill onto the Django. He did put out the most damage. And while he wasn't there for a lot of these plays, he was probably stopping a lot of plays being made when he was standing in that top lane versus Nick Chu and Dark Knight. He was holding that tower on his own. he was keeping his team afloat while they were making plays around the map. So I think Bin Laden was a pretty pivotal part of it. But part of me does kind of want to give it over to the playmakers. Conditioner, of course, had pretty high KP. So did Malix. And yeah, they made some good plays to try and get back into it. But I think the most consistent player was Bin Laden in that top lane. But who knows? What are your thoughts on SVP?
Yeah, like you said, it's a bit tougher overall. But overall, I feel like Bin Laden's agency in terms of being a tanky frontliner, able to land the knockups and the silences where they did matter, even though he did get caught out a lot of times. That's just because he's the frontline member of his team. And his crowd control, vision score, damage taken, just all the variables just kind of point towards Bin Laden in terms of picking up this SVP. The other teammates didn't quite have the performances required. You could argue the jungle or Volibear, but I feel like Bin Laden edged out everyone else on his team for the SVP award.
Yep, and I could not agree more. I think Bin Laden ends up picking this one up. I think he's picked up a crazy amount, so maybe I should have looked. Yeah, maybe I should have looked to give it to someone else. Because yeah, there were definitely some key moments there. Some great players from Casuarina and Gentlemen. It's just I think consistency is most important overall. And yeah, Bin Laden, even though his scoreline doesn't look great, all the other stats point towards him. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, if all else fails, just look at the stats to help you make the decision. And yeah, he's putting out a lot of damage on that Shogath, taking a lot of damage, So happy to give it over to Bin Laden there, and that will do us for tonight then. So yeah, a pretty short stream, guys, but to be expected. 2 games. And yeah, pretty basic outcomes we expected as well. No crazy upsets, unfortunately, but it is what it is. It wouldn't be an upset without it being an upset, If Casuarina Gentlemen were taking teams off Destiny every week, then they'd probably find themselves at the top of the leaderboard. But they are finding themselves towards the bottom, and Youngbloods are making themselves a pretty good case for top 2 there, because I think with that win now they hop into that second place. It just hasn't been updated there, and they're 1 ahead of Destiny and Corona Spaceship despite playing 1 less game than them. So we'll see what they can do. I'll look at this Saturday's matchups, guys. You will have full 3 games on Saturday this week. It'll be Team for Fun playing versus Jupi's Angels on 3 p.m. Team Corona Spaceship versus Destiny at 4 p.m. I think that one's going to be a banger one for sure. And at 5 p.m. we'll finish it off with Youngbloods versus AD Astra, and we'll see if Youngbloods can continue their streak on top here. But yeah, that 4 p.m. game, the Corona Spaceship versus Destiny, I'm not sure if anyone's looking at the same scoreboard I am looking at, but I think that's going to decide a lot going into the later weeks here. Of course, both teams sharing the exact same scoreline here. They're probably going to be a pretty good match for each other. So we'll see which team's going to take it. And yeah, I think that'll set a tone for how the rest of the season goes. I think if Destiny falls here to Corona Spaceship, they might just be behind Corona Spaceship for the rest of the split, or vice versa. So we'll see what they're able to do versus each other. Hopefully they study each other well, and we'll have a great matchup on our hands. But to see that one, you're going to have to tune in Saturday, guys. So yeah, make sure you're tuning into that one. I think before we close off stream here, we'll give one more shout out to our sponsors. Transition over to them. Thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you to our major sponsors, the Territory Zone, Paul's Iced Coffee, Northern Territory Government, and McDonald's Darwin, helping us out run these streams. And of course the minor sponsors, transition over to them: Next Tier Entertainment, Serotonin Beauty, VR Gamers, Gammon Creations, Tracy Village Social and Sports Club, Hatswing 7, The Rabbit Hole, Palace of India, Fresh Point Cafe, John John's, Diamond Barbers, District North Kitchen, Wicked Energy, Joyce Main, Next Level Gym, and Bell Accounting. That is all for us here. I'll just have a quick look at the chat here. Show shielding. Frank Garner wants me to show shielding on stream. Fine, we'll give the viewers what they want. Let's have a look at the amazing shielding statistic that this Jenna has put out. Where is that statistic? Surely it's...
Damage and healed should be...
I'm trying to find it there.
Self-mitigated damage? No.
No, it wouldn't be under there.
Where is it?
I swear it was a stat, but maybe I'm just getting trolled here. I swear that was a stat in the past, but I can't quite find it here.
I don't think it is, eh? Maybe they've replaced it with something else.
Well, we've been trolled here successfully. Let's see the healing done. Maybe not. Unfortunately, Nick Chu just absolutely smashed anyone out. Maybe we should. Well, we did give it to Nick Chu. There you go. Nick Chu just completely out healing everyone else in that game. Not abusing Trundle's passive versus Baron or anything, but
Nah.
but yeah, good games to the guys. A lot of you guys tuning into the stream, dropping by the chat, even though you're all players playing in your own match. So appreciate that. Definitely love to see that interaction. Players like on your own team, Nash, I see pulling up. So yeah, and loving the interactivity, guys. I know I've got a lot on my plate here, so it's always very hard for me to interact. But yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in. Even if you guys aren't saying stuff in chat, some people might be a bit of a lurker, just watching on the sidelines, not to say anything. We appreciate you too because you pump up the viewers, and yeah, appreciate you guys so much. And yeah, if you guys could continue to share and like the streams as we get towards the end of the season, build up some hype towards that finals, that we try to get as much viewership for the finals as possible. End off the season with a bang. And yeah, things will be looking up for Northern Territory Esports League. But I think that's all we have for you guys tonight. I think we're going to fade out to some music. Do you have any last words to say here, Chris?
Nah, just tune in on Saturday. It's going to be a banger. And yeah, keep supporting the community and the scene, guys. Appreciate it. And yeah, that's Casuarina signing out.
Alright, guys, that is also Blade XA signing out. We'll see you on Saturday. Ciao.
See you later.